Hello, everybody. Welcome back for part 2 of episode 21 of Wireheads, a Cyberpunk RED podcast. But we're not talking about Cyberpunk RED today. We're talking about.
We kind of are. Kind of are.
Yeah, we were talking about Shadowscar earlier today. But now
we did.
We're talking about. Well, I guess it runs on Cyberpunk RED's engine, but it's more Cyberpunk Yellow. Cyberpunk Edge Runner's Mission Kit. I'm sorry, I will always dog on them just a little bit because it's a little funny. I find it a little amusing. But anyway, for all you guys who are playing up in the 2070s, you got some cool new cyberware. You got your Gorilla Knucks, you got your Mono Wire, and of course you got your Mantis Blades. What more could you want? Well, guess what? I'm about to show you something that you didn't know you needed, but now you got
Diamond,
it. What?
I can't lunge at the people with my Mantis Blades, and I can't punch through solid reinforced steel with my gorilla arms. They're so weak and not powerful.
Don't you hate it?
What do you do?
And don't you hate it when you get your mono wire wrapped around someone's blade and it just doesn't break?
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, well, my friend, get ready for Mission Kit DLC number 2. That's right, number 2. There's not just one, there's now 2. Get ready for cyberware enhancements. Now, cyberware enhancements, they are only able to be used on cyberware from the Mission Kit here. That being the 3 or 4 core like upgrades of cyberware here. Because, back in my day, we had tons of different cyberware that, it all worked pretty nicely. But we didn't get enhancements. You had to go see a tech to make it do cool stuff. What if I told you could just buy this off the rack and do it yourself? So,
yeah.
To clarify, also, if you have your Mantis Blades loaded into battle gloves, it will not work. Same for your Gorilla Knucks. It's same for your Mono Wire. And they are not interchangeable. Mono Wire upgrades cannot go to Gorilla Knucks and vice versa and so on.
They're Gorilla Arms.
Gorilla Arms. Well, I'm sorry.
You're thinking Big Knucks.
I'm sorry. Back in my day, we called them Big Knucks and we liked it.
Look. Old woman. It's time to catch up. Yeah, the cool thing, though, that I do want to throw out there is they give us the core rules for cyberware enhancement. So if you and your players want to invent cyberware enhancements that work with other cyberware outside the ones listed in the DLC, or in the CEMK, I should say, then this will give you those things. The really interesting thing too that I do want to mention is the one piece of ARM-based cyberware from the CEMK that we did not get any cyberware enhancements for, which it makes sense because how do you improve it? Is the projectile launch system.
Oh, it didn't.
There are no.
Oh, okay.
No cyberware enhancements for that whatsoever. We have them for Gorilla Arms. We have for Mantis Blades. And we have it for Monowire, but we do not have it for the PLS. So that is important. But the PLS literally has an embedded rocket launcher in your arm. Like, do you really need more than that? I don't. Like, that seems very fair.
But what about 2 rockets?
Tech upgrade your PLS to have an extra slot. There you go. Done.
2 smart rockets, though.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, it could only load smart.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh.
Or at least, maybe I might be lying on that, actually. But you can already load smart in them. I know that for a fact. It's not incompatible with smart. I just don't know if it's exclusively smart or not. But yeah.
Oh, you don't
Bottom line, you can.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it probably already just has Smart Link because it's connected to your Nero port.
Exactly.
But I suppose for starts, of course, the Gorilla Arms. We have for $1,000. Oh, okay. What's up?
Pause briefly. I want to go over the core rules first. For what the hell is a cyberware enhancement? So, a couple important things to know. So enhancements in general James actually teased this at Gen Con. We talked about this in our Gen Con episode. Again, it's funny how we keep bringing that up across both the first and second part of this episode. But cyberware enhancement is a one piece or a one enhancement per piece of cyberware type thing. So you only got one cyberware enhancement installed in a piece of cyberware at a time, and they can only be, like Diamond mentioned, installed in the thing that it was designed for. So yeah, you can't cross your Mantis Blade enhancement with your Gorilla Arms. They are specific. Again, this is just a reinforcement, I feel like, to the one above it. But the enhancements are specific to the type of cyberware they're installed in, cannot be transferred to a different type. And cyberware enhancements must be installed and uninstalled by a tech, but the process does not require skill checks. You still need your tech to do this, but it's an enhancement and it can. You do not need it to follow a skill check. It takes an hour to install and uninstall, similar to doing it for like a Cyberdeck program. And a cyberware enhancement does not count as an upgrade for the purposes of the upgrade expertise specialty of the maker roll ability, which means you can have both an enhancement and a tech upgrade, both applied to the same piece of Chrome. So that is the baseline. We're starting with that, just so as we go through this, if any of you are like power player, theory crafters, all that kind of shit, you know kind of what we're playing with as our baseline rules for these things. But yes, by all means, now continue on to Gorilla Arms.
So, Gorilla Arms, you know, those things that Maine had. And, of course, what my friend Bold Cup of Joe loves to use when playing Cyberpunk 2077. One of the enhancements you can get is the hydraulic ram. So, yes. If you're one of those, you very much like it, doing some environmental destruction in your gameplay, the hydraulic ram will do exactly that for you. The piston systems in this Gorilla Arm does adds an additional 3d6 damage when you are smashing cover.
Yep.
So
it's very good.
Yeah, you know, you're because if I'm correct, the Gorilla Arms, what do they make you count as body 11 for the means of damage?
They count you as body 11 for moving cover, prying open doors, and using two-handed weapons as though they were one-handed. But it does not enhance damage to cover on its own, just having a higher body.
Just let's say, you know, you're at, you know, body 8, so you do 3d6 damage already. So you go to punch a wall with this Gorilla Arm, you are doing a grenade's worth of damage, or a gunpowder door cracker's worth of damage to cover.
And it's an important thing to note that actually Gorilla Arms don't function based on your body stat anyway.
Oh.
They have a set damage value. However, also important to note is your 3d6 is rate of fire 2. So if you have the hydraulic ram, you can go 1, 2, dealing 66 each time, only to cover.
Yep. Which personally I think that's great for someone that's in melee, to be able to not only be able to move cover around, but even just destroy people's cover.
Another important thing to mention.
What's up?
You could invent an upgrade to your cyberware enhancements.
Oh.
So allow me to express exactly what I mean by this. You could, theoretically, if your GM is wild, like I can be, in theory, a tech could invent an upgrade to this cyberware enhancement or the hydraulic ram that removes the only cover requirement for the damage and makes it so that you can ROF 266 against everything.
Oh no.
Oh yes. No. And so you invent the upgrade and then have to apply the upgrade to this and then apply this to the weapon. Yes.
I
love it. It's so good.
And of course, Next up, we have pneumatic actuation. It's a series of rotary pneumatic actuators to improve the range of motion for the delicate tasks of intense violence. The pneumatic actuators of the gorilla arm enhance the user's ability to pinpoint damage. When this weapon causes a critical injury, that critical injuries bonus is increased by 5, so it becomes basically a fucking power melee weapon.
Yeah,
You're doing 10 damage while breaking someone's ribs.
That's very cool that they were like, yes, we found a way to make a melee weapon a power weapon. That's very, very cool. I love that.
And like just thinking about that, like that could kill a booster ganger. Like,
yes,
in one punch.
Yes, straight up, that could just flatline a booster ganger. Because if you're already rolling 2 6s, you're doing at a minimum 13 damage on your dice alone. Plus, yeah, so you would actually nope, you wouldn't even be one off because there's half SP.
Yep.
So yeah, you would do 13 on the dice, half SP. Booster gangers are SP4. So you're SP2 23. Yeah, they're dead in one shot. They're just right through their head. And that's on ROF1. That's not even ROF2 yet. Your ROF2 they're dead. Like basically they're just dead.
Talk about getting fucking clapped. Like, oh. And then finally, if you need something with just a little bit more variety, but you don't want to carry both a very heavy melee and heavy melee weapon, there's tungsten reinforcement for 500 eddies. So it allows you to have your cyber arms act as either a rate of fire 2 excellent quality very heavy melee weapon for 3d6 damage, or an excellent quality very heavy melee weapon at rate of fire 1 for 46 damage. So,
I was very happy because like when teensy tiny thing to mention here, we got to proofread some of this, and when we first looked at this one, it did not have clarification on like, hey, this is what this does. It just said you can make it a very heavy melee weapon. I'm like, okay, but there's a couple of things that like, does it keep its ROF2? Does it, prevent it from doing the heavy melee? So this explains it far better than the original copy of this did.
I feel like it's a callback to the Rhinocephist from Black Chrome a little bit.
Little bit. Yeah, it definitely enhances it like a Rhinocephist. But yeah, having the ROF 146 damage, people, I think, are going to look at this. I can already hear some of you typing rapidly. Stop. I will explain. They're going to ask, guys, what's the point? I want an ROF 2 if I'm half SP on my excellent quality weapon. So why would I ever take ROF 1?
May I answer this?
To that I say,
headshots.
Sneak attack.
Oh.
Sneak attack.
Oh, we're...
Yep. No, and consequently headshots. Yes.
Okay,
because that is like the best time to try and headshot someone because it's free. So you could just go, okay, reconfigure this down because it's already ROF 1 when you headshot somebody, right? So you headshot them with 46 damage, half SP, and it doubles the damage to their noggin on half SP. Even if you're going up against like light armor jack, half SP is 6, 46, which on average is going to be 14, meaning you're going to deal 16 damage straight to their brain on average. And that could be higher. If you crit them, this could be much worse for them. Because even that crit damage, I believe, does get doubled when you crit someone in the head. So, yeah.
And I do appreciate that they did clarify you can only have one of these in at a time. Because I could see someone trying to stack both the pneumatic and tungsten on top of each other, and it's just like that could cause issues.
Well, so what you do, Diamond, is if you're an enterprising tech, this is what you do. You tech upgrade the pneumatics, like I described before, right?
Okay.
or the hydraulic ram rather. So you tech upgrade that,
All right.
so that it allows your 6d6 to apply, even if it's not cover you're hitting, right?
Uh-huh.
Or I mean, you would do it with pneumatics as well, actually, where you just install this as is, and then as a separate single tech upgrade that you need to roll for, you also apply the tungsten reinforcement via a regular tech upgrade that you invent. Because invention is that kind of powerful. And because it specifically says the cyber enhancements are not taking up that one upgrade slot, as long as you hard roll for the upgrade and invent the ability to upgrade that independent of an enhancement, you can do that.
Oh.
It'll cost you a lot of money and time, but it's cool.
Oh. Oh. Oh dear.
Oh yes.
Oh dear.
So good. It's so
good. And that's just gorilla arms. Do you want to cover mantis blades?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I love mantis blades. So, mantis blades, you've got what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Or no, that's on to monowire below that. Okay, cool. So yeah, we've got exactly 3 upgrades for the mantis blades. I think all of these got 3 upgrades. So yeah. So for the first one, we have double edged. With a second edge to work with, you can cut deeper than ever before. So the enhancement on this one is the extra cutting edge increases the chances of inflicting a nasty wound to an opponent. Whenever this weapon causes a critical injury, the user rolls twice on the critical injury table and chooses their favorite option for the victim to suffer. So you get advantage on your critical injury roll against your target, which is fucking insane. And you, the player, determine which one is truly better in that advantage scenario, which is so fun. So think about it this way, right? I hit with a double-edged mantis blade. I crit. And now I'm like, cool. Roll the dice once. It's for an object. That's cool and all, but it's boring. It's uninspired. Who wants a foreign object? You roll again. You sever their arm. Well, I know which one I'm gonna pick. Cool. We just sliced their arm off. It's great.
I feel like looking at this is like expansive ammunition after it's been tech upgraded. Though expansive ammo causes both of those, I feel like this is inspired off of like Vanisher's expansive ammo.
Sorta, kinda. It definitely is a little different, but there are, I think there are other weapons, because I know like the monowire, for example, in stock configuration in the CMK already does this. So there are definitely, but I thought in red we've seen other weapons that do this sort of thing. I just can't call them to mind right now. I think like the mono guard might do that.
So
yeah. So that's double-edged. Next we have monomolecular edged, which is, God, this is such a cool one. So you turn your mantis blades into monokatanas, which is fucking great. So this is the part where we get to say we saw this one coming. The fact that it didn't have this property for mantis blades when the CMK came out made me a little confused.
Called this one actually. I think
I can't claim all the credit because James called my attention to it at I think it was at Gen Con last year, where he said, yeah, we teased mantis blades in one of the weapon descriptions. And I'm like, wait, what? And so I went looking in Black Chrome specifically, because I believe that's what he was pointing at, because he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to someone who came by our booth. And if you read the Mono Wakizashi in Black Chrome, it describes the sound of the vibroblade working like the hissing of a mantis. And I'm like, oh, cool. So like that means when we get full Mantis Blades, it's gonna have like a monomolecular property on it. No. Well, not stock it did. Now it does. So this monomolecular edge is quite literally, you just install mono Wakizashi blades in your fucking mono or your Mantis Blade blades. So anything that is less than SP7, you do not interact with the armor. It goes straight through it. And the clarification we have gotten on this, just for those of you who are unaware of how that non-interaction works, you do not have blade armor anymore. If the SP is below 7 and you hit with a weapon that ignores SP, and this applies to any weapon that doesn't interact with SP beyond a certain level. If you're below the threshold where your weapon no longer cares about the SP, you don't touch the SP. It just goes through it like it wasn't even there. So this is important because if other people in your party have weapons that still interact with the SP, only their weapons ablate it. Yours no longer ablate it. Yes. Because it no longer interacts with the armor at all, it can't ablate it. It just passes through it.
Okay.
It's just like if you're firing a tech weapon through light cover, you don't interact with the cover anymore. It just doesn't damage it. So it's the same principle, effectively. So yeah, this one's very cool. I love monomolecular edge. Honestly, God, well, see, the first one's really good too. But I honestly, if I were to take Mantis Blades, I'd take monomolecular edge every fucking day because I think the mono Wakizashi is such a cool weapon. It's so cool. And then finally, for the Mantis Blades, we've streamlined. So the blade is slimmed down to reduce drag, making it perfect for the Speedwear Enhanced individual. So this is a little bit of a unique one. This is one of those things where not every player is going to take this enhancement because it doesn't apply to everybody. But any cybernetically enhanced user using Speedwear, when they are using this upgrade, if they spend at least a point of luck on the attack made using the weapon, you add an additional +1 to the check. And that's in addition to any other bonuses received, including the one used when spending luck. So Mantis Blade's already excellent quality. So that's a +1 for excellent quality. You get a +1 because you're spending a point of luck. You get a +1 from this. So you have a +3 to your weapon accuracy, basically, when you do. So if you were playing a high luck melee character, which again, like, there wasn't a ton of call for that before, but there is now. There's a very good reason right here to take that. You can just get higher accuracy and actually potentially hit headshots easier on these, which is insanity. Very, very cool. I'm a big fan.
Now that makes me wonder, did they design Hardpoint to do that? Because Hardpoint has, I think, a Sandevistan, and I think she also has a decent luck score.
Yeah, well, because I think Hardpoint, I always looked at Hardpoint's high luck as you could hit headshots with this.
Luck 6, yeah.
But I mean, with this, it's doubly effective, honestly. Like, it's just another reason to take this on her, honestly. Hardpoint's configuration for this is actually really, really powerful.
Oh. And then finally, to one of my favorite melee cyberware from the time of the 2070s, because originally I played around with the slice and dice back in Cyberpunk RED. So we have, of course, monowire. It's that nice, sleek little danger thread that comes out of your thumb or your wrist or wherever you put it, and Well, we now have barbed lines with monomolecular barbs put along the length of the wire, and this stuff this
Mhm.
stuff does some damage.
This shit is so good. Like,
All right,
oh my god.
so the monomolecular barbs embedded in the wire embrace the possibility of inflicting a truly nasty injury. Whenever this weapon causes a critical injury, the user rolls 3 times on the critical injury table and chooses their
Yep.
favorite option.
See, the best part is in the document itself, it says the user rolls thrice instead of twice, which I'm just like, it's so rare to see the word thrice in a description. And God, I love it. Because it's just like, all right, oh boy, well, there's my foreign object again. Boy, howdy, I rolled a 7. Awesome. I'd like to not just roll a 7, though. Rolls again. Well, that's a broken hand. That's pretty cool. Rolls again. I cut their leg off. Very cool. I'm cut their leg off.
Oh, gosh. Barbed slice and dice in the time of the red would have been. I have a rep. As some of you guys may know, I have a reputation for taking limbs off of people's characters. So,
True.
that would make this so much better. But I
Yep.
think the exchange though is the monowire. Is it still just medium melee weapon in the 2070s? Or did it get a boost?
I think it's. I thought it was maybe. Well, so there's 2 things about the wire. Even if it is medium, which I'm not certain that it is, and I'm almost on that part of the rule book. So if you give me 3 seconds, I can tell you. Monowire. Nope, it's heavy.
Oh,
It is a heavy melee weapon. Yep. Because
so
I was like, even if it's medium, here's the thing about it. It has reach. You can go like 3 times the normal distance to like hit your target.
3 times the normal distance, and you get to choose the possibility of 3 different critical injuries compared to mantis blades. I just wonder, how does one outweigh the other, though? That's one thing that it's just like,
For well, how do you outweigh which benefit?
Because I feel like in this case, then why not just go with the monowire where you get 3 chances with barbed instead of 2 chances with double edged?
It's a fair question. I think. Well, it depends on what you value with. It depends what you value with the secondary utility of your weapon. Because like monowire, you value it if you want to reach, but if you're constantly like one of those like super climbing ninja types, Manus blades let you climb.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, so you would potentially take the Manus blades in the first place. You know, when we look at them even without the enhancements applied, you would take a Manus blade potentially because you want to climb, and have that option be a part of your character. Because style over substance, baby. But yeah, I agree. Like if you're just strictly looking at it on paper as their viability as melee weapons, this beats out double edge. Straight up, this beats out.
Yeah. But then again, there's something just a little more terrifying about mantis blades as well. There's just something a little more unsettling about them.
Yeah. So then, I mean, here's the real fun thing you could do, right? You could go. One arm if you're just using them as melee weapons. You go one arm with a mantis blade, one arm with a monowire, and then you enhance them separately. So you go with like your monowire, you could do the barbed and get the 3-time, critical injuries, especially if you're trying to stay back. If someone does get close to you, you could go monomolecular edge on your Manus blade. And the fact that you only have one of each still doesn't change the fact that they're ROF2, both of them.
Then
So imagine for a moment, your enemy has Kevlar. This means my first attack with a monomolecular edge is still going to interact with their armor. So what is a Chum to do? Well, I just pull out my mono wire, slap them 6 meters out, and if I've still got the move to close the rest of that distance, I just close it after hitting them with that once. If it crits, great, I can roll 3 times and pick my favorite. Even if it doesn't now, though, I've hit them at range, and now I close the distance and stabify them with my thing that doesn't interact with their armor anymore.
Fair point. Fair point. Usually I see people prefer their mantis blades in pairs, but you know that's a very valid point.
The difference here is you got an excellent quality mono Wakizashi on your arm, regardless of if it's paired or not. Yeah.
Next up is electroshock, where you get shock nodules that are implanted onto the wire, allowing it to be used for less lethal applications, which basically this will convert your mono wire into a heavy stun baton, where you could just beat the shit out of someone with it, and it does not say that it does not say it does not ablate armor, so you could still ablate armor with this thing.
And it says the user can choose to knock their target out.
Yep.
So you actually get a choice when you would hit them below 1 HP to leave them at it or just fucking kill them. Like, you can just go either way, which is incredible.
I personally like this one because, you know, having your weapon be able to have those kinds of multiple applications, especially if you're trying to capture, not kill. But the person that you're trying to capture is being, well, less than agreeable to being rescued.
Yeah.
Please don't resist you being rescued. This is very much a good way to make that happen. Just, you know, give them a good zap and conk them out. And then finally we have thermal bladed, which I like this one also. This turns your mono wire into an AP weapon.
Yep.
It's makes your wire very, very hot. The superheated wire slices cleanly through armor, and whenever this weapon ablates armor, it ablates it by an additional 1. So you get to ablate possibly up to 4 SP per turn.
So Diamond, do you know what we call this?
What?
The Metal Gear Melter, right here.
Absolutely.
This is 9 SP effectively against most Metal Gear. Jeez, that was very close lightning strike. Hello.
Against most. There's only one that will be able to ignore that.
Right. There's Metal Gear though is very, very cool. Where it's like, okay, cool. So you're 18 SP. Well, no, you're effective 9 now, most of the time. Unless you're Atom Smasher. And so now what we do is I swipe at you with this as many times as it takes to ablate that 9 SP down. And it's just go, okay, cool. It's now it's effective 9. Now it's effective 8. And every time you hit it for 2, the effective SP of it against your melee weapon goes down by 1, which is actually incredible. And even by the end of the first round of combat, assuming both the attacks hit for more than 9 damage, you're just going straight through them at that point, and making it so anything that does 5d6 damage will probably get through their metal. They just have to roll at least average on their dice. Pretty good.
So
pretty good.
Yeah. And all in all, the pricing on the pricing on these, I think, is very fair for what they do.
Yeah, most of them are 1,000. Most of them are 1,000, but they're not cheap. Yeah. So you've got tungsten reinforcement, which is 500, and electroshock, which is 500. Every other enhancement we talked about is 1,000. So they are not cheap. However, I remind you, You can buy these on the secondary market very easily. Because if you have a fixer in the time of the 70s, they can access up to 1,000 Eddie items anytime they want at rank 4. You also just need a tech to apply this, but they don't have to make a check. So for market access and then just needing the tech as the prereq, these are very good. Like extremely good. Because let me double check one other thing in the rule book here since I'm already on that page. Monowire is 1,000. Manus blades are 500. And Gorilla Arms. Where are you? There it is. They're 1,000. So the Manus blades are also cheaper for eddies than your monowire, which is another reason why you might take that.
Fair enough. And then like the cost of entry is easier with Mantis blades, but I noticed that it catches up with all the others because Mantis blades are all 1,000 Eddie items. So
right.
Then you have to look at that.
Though I will say, I think personally that the 500 Eddie options in here, they're good in the right context. They can be very, very good. But I will say the 500 Eddie options feel like they're more for specific builds, whereas the others seem, and pretty much all of the, Streamlined is the one for Manus blades. That's for like a very specific kind of build. But the other two on each of them, right? They all have one that is like, you could take this on just about anything. And the other ones are like, more like, okay, you need to do this on a build, right? Like this is going to require like, for Streamlined, it requires you having speedwear and probably high luck. Electroshock requires that you ever want to go non-lethal, and the tungsten reinforcement definitely plays more into I want a headshot with my arms and don't care about the other sorts of things like making my fists a power weapon or damaging cover, meaning like literally just punching through a wall, which I think both are. There's never a time where not having those is, like there's never a time where having those is a bad thing, right? They're always going to have a use if you have those abilities.
Then I guess also looking at this, just also the fact that they do leave that tech upgrade slot open for the weapons as well. I guess with each of them being like excellent quality already, I'm just wondering what other possible tech upgrades outside inventions really could apply to these.
I'm
heading over there to see like what other possible tech upgrades there are that.
Yeah, I mean melee weapons. Yeah, melee weapon. I mean, you could simplify, but all of these are already concealable without a check.
Or concealable is a different upgrade. Simplify reduces the amount of time it takes to repair that piece of equipment.
Yeah, but that only really applies if you're following breaking your stuff, which I know not every GM wants to go that crunchy. I know I don't half the time. Like, if I'm going to use anything out of that DLC, I just use the, you damage your shit, it's time to get some new either a new thing to replace it or repair it.
I use it partially to encourage players to improve their lifestyle.
Right, I think that the new humanity rules do a much better job of reinforcing that, which I know you and I were talking about more privately last night. But I think that the new humanity rules do a far better job of encouraging players to enhance their lifestyle. I just think that breaking your stuff gets a little too in the weeds for my liking. because I play Cyberpunk to not get, not have to track a million things, and tracking, has my player upkept for their monthly repair costs or things like that, and it's a little much. So it's one of those things where I have a hard time following it to the letter.
I think
Like, the rules are important to have, though.
the humanity loss would be actually pretty good. Like,
Yeah, like if you
would be good for any of these.
If you implant the humanity loss upgrade in your cyberware before getting it, yes, that would be a very solid upgrade. Because countering,
So you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay the humanity cost.
Mm-hmm. That's very, very good.
So, I forgot to update the titles on here. I'm so sorry, folks. Oh gosh.
This is why you come to my channel or the. Don't worry, I forgot at the very beginning of the segment. I actually changed it really early on. So you're all gonna see me like telling Diamond to get good here, and you're gonna be like, "But Emmerron, you did it too." Yes, but I corrected it within the first 3 minutes of the segment.
I guess. Look, I got a little excited. I just kind of got on board and just kind of got going on.
Yeah, you didn't even
this.
bother introducing me as co-host this time around.
I'm sorry.
I need to go.
I'm sorry. I got excited. Now, I do think though, as I did promise on stream last night, it's story time. So,
oh boy,
here we were. It was Tuesday night, and I was gathering up all the last questions for Tomas, and I wanted to give you guys a look behind the curtain of what we do over here at Wireheads for a moment, but and then we'll go into Q&A.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like it's a very like look at this DLC. It's a very open shut. Like, here's some new stuff. Run with it. Stop asking us for more stuff. I'm okay about that last one. But there you go, guys. You have your gear DLC. Leave us alone. But also, I did hear about the Cyberpunk RED DLC, and I'm excited to see what this investigation one is. So we'll talk about that soon. We'll investigate it here. I'll shut up now. All right, so here we were, getting ready to go tackle this interview with Tomas on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, extenuating circumstances happened, and we ended up moving it to Wednesday morning. Yeah.
Wow.
Or no, Thursday morning.
Technically, it was this morning. Yeah.
Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
So to give you all, so we were originally Pacific time. The original interview was going to be Wednesday at midnight, and so Diamond and I got together about 2 hours ahead of the interview to check our notes, check that everything that we wanted to ask was written the way we wanted to ask it. Because that's whenever we do an interview, that's the thing we always do is okay, here's the questions we want to ask him as a group. Here's the way we want to ask those to make sure that we're number one, being fair to them as the creator, to not overly pressure them to tell us things that haven't been heard by the public, but also that makes it so that we can actually get an answer, because there are times where people like Jay Gray we ask a question in a particular way and he's like,
us.
Yes, next question, and it just gives us the most non-answer to the question we tried to ask. So I'm very careful about my wording in the interviews because of that.
I feel like Tomas was a little more willing to talk about a lot of things.
Tomas was you'll all see the interview early next week. It was a very good interview. I really liked talking to Tomas. Bottom line is we're getting together to prep our questions. And I am oh, well, you know what? I'm going to do my due diligence as an interviewer. I'm going to Google Tomas, because I knew he was the lead designer on Blade Runner, which is why he was on our podcast, going to be on our podcast to begin with. We both like the Blade Runner TRPG. We wanted to learn a little bit about Replicant Underground and some of the stuff going on with like Fire Angels and all of that. And so I Google him,
And we
because I'm like, well, yeah, let me see what other games he's worked on too, so I can maybe incorporate that in my questioning, whatever. He's the CEO of Free League Publishing. I learned 2 hours before we're supposed to interview the guy.
So he rolls up in my DMs. And, you know, we're just like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, here's my list of questions. And he's like, oh, yeah, and by the way, fun fact, did you know that Tomas is the CEO? And I was like, look, I knew he was up the chain, because I thought he's equivalent to, like, Jay Gray or, you know, James Hutt or Cody, where, you know, they were line managers, not that far up the chain. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're kind of just sitting there, just like, why didn't you think to tell me? I didn't know till now. It was just like, ah. So
yeah, both of us were like freaking out just a little bit, and then I'm like, it's okay. We'll give an interview. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And it was.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely fine.
The hilarious thing is, we're sitting down. We're like 1:45 at this point, getting ready for him to join our call. We've sent him a link to the room we're using and everything to record everything. And he emails, I think it was like within 15 or 10 minutes of midnight, and says, hey guys, I'm running a little behind. Can we do it a different time, like maybe tomorrow instead? And we're both like, we've just spent the last like 2 hours like triple checking ourselves.
And
like,
also outages. Cause I said, you know, what could possibly go wrong?
Everything could go wrong. Diamond lost her internet for like an hour. This was from like 10 to 11. And then she got it back. And we get the email from Tomas saying, hey, we gotta reschedule this. We're like, okay, that's cool. Like, yeah, totally. We can work with that. And not, what was it, 15, 20 minutes after we would have started the interview with him if we had kept on our original schedule, she loses her internet again. And we're just like, well,
what a time.
Like, the universe just told us it wasn't gonna happen one way or another tonight. This was gonna be a fluke. So like, we lucked out. We didn't have that problem this morning when we actually recorded it, which is very good. Much better to have it that way.
So yeah, over here at Wireheads, we definitely know what we're doing. We have everything under control for the most part until
we are consummate professionals over here, yes. Understanding everything we do. We know what we are doing. Look, I don't need your help with fixing my gas mask. I know how to do it just fine on my own.
Yeah. Oh, that. That's gonna be great.
So yeah, for those of you, no one except Diamond's gonna get that reference. But in one of my StartPlaying gigs today, we just got done with Haven't Got a Stitch to Wear, and part of the deal that Diamond struck, without spoiling too much here, is she would find new jobs for people that lost their jobs due to what the party chose. And this included the guy they were negotiating with. She hooked him up with the Piranhas. And he was a cocky asshole who said, no, I know how to put on a fucking gas mask. I can do that just fine. Thank you. Tries to put it on and doesn't do so correctly. And he's in a lab cooking blue glass. So our Diamond goes to see how he's doing. And everyone's like, hey, Skimmer, her character's name. Hey, Skimmer, how's it going? And she's like, oh, I came by to see how our new friend is doing. Like, oh, fucking Suit. Suit's having a good old time, a really good time. She's like, oh, just come up here. Check this out. Hey, Corpse, is it clean in there by now? Yeah, the vents have done what they're supposed to. Okay, we're gonna let her in. They open the door, and this dude's like on the side of the room just, oh, why are the lights so pink? It was so good. We had a great time.
Going on a trip I only wish I could possibly go on. Like real life. Like I want to go on a journey like that one of these days. Unfortunately, because of where I live and the job I work, I cannot go on.
Finding a new layer of reality to observe.
I need to see what's on the other side of this mortal coil for just a few moments.
Other side, no, between.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
Fair.
Go,
Yeah.
the next dimension, if you will. The fifth. Or the fourth.
You peel back one layer of reality, what's on the underlayer? Yeah. No, that's what happened in Cyberpunk RED at StartPlaying today. So, which I'm gonna try and spin up another game of that sometime soon. So, or not necessarily Tales of the Red, but I'm spinning up another StartPlaying game sometime soon. So,
is it gonna be when the next major expansion, Cyberpunk RED, Tales of the Red, Forlorn Hope is coming out? Is that when that's gonna come?
I see. The thing is, I don't know when that's coming out, so I can't plan around it. Yeah. So no, most likely it'll be something else. But
I know we're taking our bets. It's gonna be probably late October, early November.
My guess is it's gonna be sometime late September. Either somewhere between late September, late October. It's gonna be like somewhere near either the end of September, and it could be anywhere from that all the way to the end of October.
Release it on October 31st. Trick or treat, bitches.
Yeah, right. That's right. I think it's probably going to be more like, it'd probably come out, if it's in October, it's probably mid-October, but yeah, I don't think it's going to wait all the way to November. I really don't. I think it's going to be either September, October release date when we get the announce on that.
All right. So, question time, and I have collected a small amount of questions I forgot to put up on the Q&A board. Let me go put them on the Q&A board.
Yeah, because I'm like, I ain't got shit.
So mind if I just read them off my sticky note then?
You can go ahead.
All right, so first question. Agents. Why do they need to have AI? How can I get my agent to stop listening to me? Send help. Signed, distressed player.
One, you can't. Two, because agents need to be helpful. You don't want an agent that isn't helpful, do you?
I have a great idea, and player, if you're new to the player that's doing this, player, if you're new, get a disposable cell phone.
Yes, they don't have AI
or radio.
Yep. Well, you mean get a radio? Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you want a comms device that doesn't have an AI, you either get a disposable cell or a radio communicator. Both of those have no AI in them. The thing is, you then won't get a bonus to your library search check. So, search really optimization, baby.
You won't be able to access the data pool. That's the other thing. Yeah. Your agents give you that access, unless you go to a computer.
Right, that's what I was going to say. If you have a computer or you go to a data term, you can still get data pool access. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, if you look for another form of communication, and from what it sounds like, your GM is playing, some mind games with you a little bit, which I am here for that, using your agent against you. I love that.
At Wireheads, we are player fuckery enjoyers. We love that.
A mild amount. All right. I wonder if this is one of my players. I think this is one of my players. Hey, you remember that conversation we were having last night?
Yes, please.
I wanted to ask this on Wireheads more for the collective to hear, but one of my fellow players is about to go flying over the edge. I can smell it coming. I'm a lawman. Can I run to the NCPD? Does that seem like a fine thing to do?
You're a lawman, so why not?
Do it.
You're a lawman.
And if this is who I think it is, yeah, I know who you are. Do it.
Yeah, I think Diamond told me the full context of that story last night. I'm not gonna say much about that conversation other than to say, yeah, like, yeah.
And to the players who are listening right now,
Yep.
I hope you're ready to go beg Hornet and hope that maybe he will help you.
Yeah, you guys have one kind of problem that I don't envy you, but man, I wish I was a fly on the wall for your session. Holy
Oh,
shit.
goodness.
I've never seen something like what I think you're all about to witness. And that is oh God, it's so beautiful, if not terrifying.
Many arms make light work of a party.
It's true. Many weapon implants in those arms can do that. It's God, it's so cool. God, that's so terrifying.
Oh! Was there any other cool games that you guys saw at Gen Con you were not able to pick up? This is from oh God, what mine again, not mine. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's a bird. The company's name is a bird. I'm trying to remember what it was. It Mocking? No, it wasn't Mockingjay. I'll have to go and find it. But there is a game that they have. It's a role playing game where you are all playing as a different emotion in one person's head, and you guys are trying to direct this person around to survive in a house of horror.
That's cool.
So it's not 4 individuals. You are one individual acting as 4 of the different instincts and emotions of this person.
That's very cool. Yeah. What games did I see that I didn't get to interact with? Man, that's hard. Because I was blessed that last year at Gen Con I got to try a lot of games that I haven't had the chance to play quite yet. I think the one game that I would have liked to try out just to see how it played was the new edition of Starfinder.
Ooh,
If I'd been able to sit for a table at that, I would have probably tried that out. Because very recently, I've gotten a chance to. I got my hands on the entirety of what exists right now for Fabula Ultima. So like that's a game that I'm like, I really want to play that game. I want to play that game so bad.
I didn't have enough money to go get Fabula Ultima. I want to go get I want to get Fabula Ultima.
Right. Well, look, if Need Games is at PAX U and you end up coming to PAX U, save your pennies.
So. I will. Fabula Ultima it looks like a lot of fun. Cool. I want to get in on it. Let's see, another game I was hoping to maybe get in on. Unfortunately, did not make it. There was one for Blade Runner. It was called Stop the Presses. Was not able to get there. Yeah. I wonder if that's gonna be a teaser for case number 3, or maybe it's for Replicant Rebellion.
The game I signed up for a session of it last year, but I didn't realize how far it was from the main expo hall where I spent most of my time last year. Was Alien TRPG, and I was like, fuck, I wanted to play Alien so bad. So maybe next year I'll finally get a chance to play Alien. But yeah.
Then also got to have a look at some of the other card games that are out there, and as much as I want to get back into Pokemon card games, I don't know if I can put myself through that. I don't know if I can, especially from like what I hear from from a veteran of competitive card games. I just
there's my medal. I did it. Yeah, I mean it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. Like it doesn't matter which card game you play, they're all expensive. There's no cheap card games. It's unless you're playing a CCG, in which case it's less expensive, but there's still a cost involved. And upkeep is the biggest part of those that just make it hard to like keep up with.
I guess the other like one of the other ones I was looking for was like a physical copy of Slay the Spire. Could not find them. I didn't.
Do they actually have a physical game for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. How did I not know about that? That sounds fun.
I first played it on Tabletop Simulator, and it turns out it's like an actual box set, and it's just like
that's neat.
So cool.
That's very cool.
And apparently, Watcher is one of the newest expansions when she showed up.
I'm curious.
Also, Ironclad main here, so yeah, go Ironclad. Oh, and then finally, I met them while I was there. I met Monster Fight Club. I talked a little bit about them, but I am definitely going to be getting in and having a look at Cyberpunk RED Combat Zone, specifically Red. I know there is Smasher versus David's Crew. I will probably dig into that later, but mainly I want to see what they got going on for the time of the Red on the skirmisher side. And it sounds like there might even be competitive play coming to Combat Zone. Like there might be a possibility of tournament play. So I'll be curious to see what they got.
Okay, so let me see who makes Slay the Spire the board game. Contention Games.
Yeah.
Let's 6 more. What's
But I think, let's see. And, oh, yes, one last question. What do you guys aspire to do with Wireheads in the next year?
Huh.
That's
such an easy question to answer, Diamond. I mean, I'll let you go first. I mean, that's a very easy thing.
Maybe on the much more obtuse view of it, or zoomed out view, it's pretty good. Like hopefully we'll be out by episode 100 next year, something like that. Yeah. But like, I guess for me, I want Wireheads to be able to be a very like new person friendly podcast. So of course, we have old guard from 2020 that listen to us. We've got, new folks that come in, and I want this podcast to be able to be something that people can look back to when, looking into Cyberpunk RED or learning about the game, that they could sit down, listen to us, listen to the insights that we have, and be able to walk away with something, whether it be a new tool to bring to the table, maybe a new system to learn. Because I know we talk about other systems, but I know James Hutt has mentioned this a lot. Play other games because it'll make your favorite game even better.
We learned that I'd say we learned that lesson pretty directly when we both played Blade Runner, and we both realized like, wow, there's so many tools that this game uses for its like GM planning and stuff like that like are directly transferable to Red. Like it's actually insane how good the tool transference is between those two systems for some of the
Chase system,
like GM planning. Chase system was when we got the chase rules for Red. God damn, they looked a lot like Blade Runners.
You just have to think a little bit.
The countdown looks very good for planning, even in the context of a Red game, because it forces you as the GM to think in the context of who the opposition is in your gig and plan around what they're going to do as much as it requires you to plan around your players.
And that was also put on display during the Cyberpunk RED 4-hour session. So there's that as well. I suppose also on top of that, I guess at the end of the day, when I'm looking at Wireheads and like what my goal in particular is, I've always advocated that players should be able to have a game where all you need is one book, your dice, it's a paper, and of course some pencils, or an online system that y'all can access, and just be able to sit down and play a game. And also have the resources that you can reach out, and people will have maybe some ideas or answers to your questions.
Yeah.
What about you, Emmerron?
I think my goal with Wireheads from the very beginning, the reason I asked Diamond to do this in the first place, was we already, a few times prior to our first episode of the podcast proper, had teamed up to talk about topics in the community that we felt were worthy of discussion and sometimes even a little bit of debate. And it felt like a natural fit because Diamond and I work well together when it comes to like how we like to plan things, how we like to discuss things, how we organize our thinking on certain things. And so in the future, part of me is just like, we're going to continue doing all that because like that's a big reason why, for example, you haven't seen any more like how to GM episodes from me, because like a lot of the topics that I might want to even try to cover there, I feel like having two voices talking about some of those same topics is more useful, because you're not just getting my opinion, because I am not the objective correct voice when it comes to how to do something in Cyberpunk, right? Like neither is Diamond. Like both of us have flaws in the way that we approach things, I am sure, or at the very least, if they're not like true flaws where they're objectively like, that's a problem, not everything that we do and say to do is going to work for everybody individually. So the odds that something we say on the podcast and debate a little bit about like, well, would I do that? Maybe not. I'd do it this way. It gives you two different ways of thinking about some of the ways we discuss things and like some of the topics that we cover. And I think that gives you a better answer. Because then if my way doesn't work for you, or if Diamond's way doesn't work for you, you can try the other person's and like see if that works better for you one way or the other. And maybe in trying both, you think of a third approach and that third approach ends up working for you. Well, that's great, because we're not your GM. Most of you, some of you we are, but like even if we are your GM, the way you GM at your table, if you ever start up that that thing for yourself, start up a game of your own, not everything that we tell you to do is going to be totally perfectly transferable. So yeah, so part of Wireheads for me is just having a flat spot, basically a level place where we can talk those ideas through and have those discussions. Another element of it, at least for me, is I like building community, and I think that Cyberpunk RED has a very strong community already. I think that Artel has done a really great job of building and fostering one on their Discord server. I know we have one that's much smaller in the Inferno that like I very much try to foster and keep growing. And for me, the podcast is somewhat an extension of that as well, where it's like, let's continue talking and like challenging each other's ideas and finding new and interesting ways to like solve some of the problems and have a common space to discuss when new things happen. Because they're just like today's episode was all about new stuff. Like there wasn't like a lick really of the old stuff in today's discussion outside of like, well, like why would I take the mono blade over this or whatever, like it's that sort of stuff is you always have to discuss it in context, but like it's fun to have a forum to discuss new things and to answer questions and do all of that. So yeah, like in the new year, I think that's kind of our goal with that as we move forward. Like Diamond said, I am 100% here to try and keep developing this. If we're 100 episodes deep, hell yeah, let's go for 100 more. You know, like that's kind of my thinking. The other thing that this gives us the power to do is because the both of us are working on this, we get a lot of people we can talk to, and there are two of us talking, so it gives us both the opportunity to check each other's work, like like with Tomas, that was Diamond who ran all the prep for that, basically. Just like with me when we got Cody on, I ran a lot of the prep for that. So it's that gives us the ability to divide and conquer our work, but it also I believe it increases to a certain degree our likelihood that if we ask someone, hey, do you want to be interviewed on this or discuss some stuff with us, that someone will say yes, because we are two community members.
One of the other things, and I know you had mentioned this, was just like, you're not like the end all be all voice of this. Right. I've never agreed that I as I've always said, unless it comes down from Jay Gray or Mike or anyone way up there, these are the guys, they are the makers of the game. This is what it is. Dialogue is the end all be all of it. You have that Always. Discussion, and you take what you can from that discussion, walk away with it. Now the last one, follow-up question: how's your journey been? Has it been worth it? And I'm like, how? First off, whoever wrote that, how dare you?
How dare you?
Like, right in the feels. I'm still a little scarred from all that yet.
Oh. You monster! Why would you bring us back there?
It's someone in our Final Fantasy friends, somewhere in that loop.
Probably, yeah. I would say so far, yeah. I mean, we've done a lot in the short time that we've had the podcast. And I know for me specifically, this is, I mean, I've said it many times on here and in other content I made, this is my full-time job. This is what I do. I do content. So, for me, it's very much like, it's been much more rewarding. It's like I am not making a ton of money. I want no one to be under any illusion that Emmerron is rich off of his content creation endeavors. Very, very far from it. I took a massive pay cut to try this, but this feeds my soul so much more than what I was doing before. I am infinitely grateful that I have this opportunity to try and do this and make something of this. So yeah, like the journey's been well worth it. I've learned tons. I'm continuing every day to learn more. And again, that's the benefit of having a co-host on a podcast like this is, I have someone who's gonna call me out on shit if I've gone too far or said something weird or whatever.
You're not really one of the extreme voices that is just like, no, this is how I do it. This is how it has to be done. You've never really pushed. You've always pushed for, run your table as you should, or how you feel is best. And honestly, I do envy you that you are able to work this full time. I hope for a day where I can finally quit having to work night shifts, because I guess for anyone who is here on episode 21 and doesn't quite get it yet, I work night shift. I have worked night shifts. And Emmerron has known me back in like the later end of my last job, where I was doing 12-hour nights, 4 nights a week, but I used to do it 6 nights a week, and it was some real grueling work that I did. Cyberpunk, and also entertaining you guys and talking to all of you about whether it be Cyberpunk Red, Final Fantasy 14, Blade Runner, Valheim when I was doing that, and the whole run of the mill of just all these different interests, and being able to share ideas now with Emmerron, like weekly, where we have these discussions. I've made great friends on the way, and the fact that one of them basically whispered in Lisa Pondsmith's ear to have me come along for Gen Con. Now I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's just you have the connections. And
yeah, I mean, I had the benefit of working with them twice last year. That's all it is.
So you're a good vouch, and I hope I hope I did not let you down at Gen Con.
Oh, far from it. No, you exceeded anything that I would have expected any of the people I vouched for. I mean, really, you helped in ways that you were not asked to help. I mean, that's why, like, on the last day, both of us were running around. That's when we got the comment from Holly, like, "Are you two married?" Because both of us were volunteering in a capacity that we did not sign up for initially, because we knew that was the right thing to do, and that was where the help was needed. So, like, the fact that you were already, like, doing that, and, like, I didn't have to prompt you to do that. No one did, right? You just did it. Like, that's where I'm like, yeah, that's why I vouched, because I knew that's the kind of person.
Also, getting to finally meet Dice. Well, Rob Barefoot from our Talsorian Games, but I Dice will always be Dice in my heart.
We will always know him as Dice.
That's who he is to me. He's Dice. He's the other cool Cyberpunk Red creator that we were working with, and now he's making his way up in the world, and I'm so happy for him. I got to meet Cody, son of Lisa Mike Pondsmith, and creator of probably the next game that's gonna be probably an obsession on the channel.
Yeah. Like, I've said it before, Shadow Scar is going to be one of those things I'm going to need to, like, really quickly, before the core rules come out, figure out how to do a, like, content schedule that allows me to play both Cyberpunk and Shadow Scar, because holy shit, doing one or the other is going to hurt, because I'm just like, I want to do both. Like,
and, I got to meet Dolan, I got to meet Jay. I got to sit there and listen and laugh with Jay while he was talking about the development of Ziggurat and how literally it got to a point. Mike told him enough with the Babylon jokes. It's just stuff like that.
For those of you who wonder on Neon Inferno Monday, where I brought up Babylon as like an exec club, and like I got a little bit of like Diamond DMing, just like, Babylon, really?
It was very much in the chat, just Babylon. Really?
Yeah,
what is this, like some Ziggurat funded nightclub or some shit? But
it's their exec bar, yeah.
But I think looking at this, where meeting Emmerron has probably been a highlight, alongside meeting the Moonlighters, of course, because that's my home group. But Wireheads has become the second home to me, and the fact that, like, literally I can count on this always being part of my normalcy, I'm fine with that. Knowing that, hey, at least I get to start off my work week doing something I enjoy before I got to go file paperwork and explain to truckers that, yes, you need to take your trailer, you need to hook up to your trailer. Yes, that trailer parked by your truck, you hook up to it. Come on, you got this, buddy.
I mean,
are you really failing your
than what you were doing
saves?
Before?
Oh yeah,
like, it's still an improvement if it doesn't always feel like one.
Oh no, I will take 20 an hour to sit in a guard shack over being paid peanuts to carry a gun anymore.
Yeah.
So, I think on that note, whoever asked if the journey was worth it, yes, it has. And also, fuck you again for asking us that question that way. How dare you?
How dare you? How very dare you?
hitting us with Binah's line. Like, oh. Anyway, on that note, friends, whatever time zone it is, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with all of us tonight. And of course, Emmerron, any last announcements from you?
As I've mentioned once or twice, I think in this episode, September, I have a subathon coming up. Details probably to come this week, I think, probably on like how we're gonna do some things. Because yeah, I've got some ideas and plans and stretch goals and stuff. And this is my attempt to be able to continue doing this full time without needing to seek part-time employment for my wife. So those of you out there, if you want to be able to help keep me doing this full time, this is how I will potentially be able to pull that off. So, but yeah, I would love if you came and hung out with me. I will be trying to stream just about all the time in September. I'm not going to do anything too crazy, like sleeping at my desk or whatever on camera. That's kind of weird.
No redeem.
And I have other things. Yeah, like I have other things to do too in my week, like start playing that require a degree of privacy, obviously. So like, it's not going to be one of those where I'm like always online, always like on camera, all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be timer based, so we'll start and stop a timer, you know, as we're moving through the month. So yeah, no. But that's kind of the plan. That's my only huge announcement. And then we've got Neon Inferno's continuing. We finally aired our first episode in like 2 months, I think it was, on Monday, and we're continuing that. That's gonna keep going for the next probably 2 months or so here. Maybe it might not be quite that long, but we'll see. We just got through episode 20. 20 was Monday. So, and I've told my players that I'm imagining roughly 26 episodes, probably, give or take. So
kind of what it sounds like with your plot. We're coming down to it.
We're moving toward the end. We're in the final act for sure, but we'll see. My players like to chew the fat and roleplay a lot. So like, there's a very good possibility this still takes us a minute, but by the probably by October, mid-October at the latest, we're probably going to be done with season 2. So that's on Mondays. We're having a great time, so join us over there for that. But yeah, other than that, just some, videos are coming. I've got some plans, some things and stuff that I'm working on that I'd love for you all to see when they come out.
By the way, if you want to see his videos early, check out his Patreon. Also, go to his Patreon if you want Emmerron's Gen Con Adventure Pay to Win. Trust me, you're going to love this.
It is there, and it is free. So you don't need to pay me on Patreon. However, if you would like to, I definitely appreciate you deeply, forever.
I guess on my end, of course, yes, the cookbook is coming. I'm just about done. I've got, I'm going to have at least 15 entries that are going to be coming out in this ever-expanding cookbook. It's almost done. I think you guys are going to be excited for what recipes I've got. And then also on top of that, I am thinking here that for StartPlaying, I am going to add the Cyberpunk Edge Runners Mission Kit to a rotating schedule of either monthly or every other month. There will be a 3-session campaign of the Edge Runners Mission Kit. Possibly 4 if we do karaoke night. So, which karaoke night's great. Trust me, it's funny.
It's very good.
All right. But on that note, good night, all of you. And be safe out there. I'm Diamond Dust.
Bye, guys. And I'm Emmerron.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.